Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Future Proof Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Muller. I'm joined today with Marco Baldocchi from the Marco Baldocchi Group. And Marco, you have such a really cool story. So thank you for, and I can't wait to jump into this. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
All right, Marco. So first off, I always say, tell everybody about your background, right? All the way up to where you started the group, because you have a really cool background.
Yeah, I'm Italian. I was living in a very small city called Lucca in Tuscany, close to Florence. And 8 years ago, I decided to try a new experience, export my concept of consumer neuroscience and neuromarketing in the United States. I was very curious when I started my business to understand if the United States could be a potential market for this topic, because, there is more attention for the customer experience and the customer's feeling compared with the Europe market. So I decided to move here. We do consumer neuroscience. Basically, we analyze using biomedical tools what's happening in the human mind and body when they have an experience. Experience means watching a video, having a packaging in their hands, or watching a packaging on the shelf, or surfing a website, all the things that can be perceived. So I decided to move here, and it was one of the best choices in my life because I found a very interesting market. There is really a great attention to the people and to this stuff. My background is from marketing, and I started doing neuroscience for a case. If case exists, I don't know. Because a lot of years ago, I bought a car, and I was passionate for the snow. That's the reason why now I'm living in Miami, obviously. And I bought
Probably the home between Miami or LA, the home of great cars, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And when I was in Italy, I bought a car, was a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And it's an amazing car for the US roads, but not for the Italian one. My city was very small. We have narrow street. We have small car parking lot. So it was very complicated to drive that car there. Why I bought that car? I was passionate for the snow. I live like 40 minutes by the mountains. And so every weekend during the winter, I went to skiing. But what was the trigger that nudged me to buy that car was a marketing trigger. You can imagine that the winter in my areas had a duration of 2 months. So for 2 months was the best car ever. For 10 months was a crazy car. Absolutely useless. So I tried to understand why. I was in that period, I was a marketing strategist. I create marketing strategy for companies, and they say, hey, why something nudged me to buy a so stupid car for my life? And I fell down in the emotional marketing. In that period, we are talking about like 2010. In that period, emotional marketing was the name we gave to the consumer neuroscience. And from that moment, I decided to study neuroscience, and I had a master for understanding exactly what's happening in the human mind when we receive a trigger, when we receive a stimuli. And I would like to understand what's happening in the unconscious mind of the consumers. Because the science tells us that the 95% of our consumer decisions are triggered by an emotion. And then
I agree with that 100%.
We rationalize. And this is true for the business to consumer as the business for business. It's absolutely the same.
Yeah.
We are a rational animal. We are emotional animal that's rationalized. We are not rational animal. When we think to ourselves, we think that we are rational animal, but we are just emotional animal. And then we rationalize our decision, our unconscious processes. That's the story of the reason why I decided to change my life and starting this path in consumer neuroscience. It's a totally innovative field industry.
Yeah, and so it's so interesting. You and I have had talks before about this, but so Marco, tell everyone, give them some ideas of how you use neuroscience in marketing and how you've helped some of your companies and your clients, because it's fascinating to me and it really makes sense.
Yes, I want to tell you some case history. And the first thing I want to share with you is our job reduce the risk of failure for marketing campaign or products like rebranding or something similar. I want to make an example. One brand arrived to me and they asked me to understand, they are creating a new product, and the new product was a product for the hairstyle care. And they arrived and they have some designer that designed their logo, and they ask us, okay, so we want to understand exactly which logo can be associated unconsciously to some values that are the brand values, like plastic-free, total natural, and something similar. So we use a tool that is able to understand exactly the reaction. If the reaction is unconscious or conscious, it's called implicit association time test. So people saw the logo and they have two buttons and they have to react. And you see two words. You see a logo and you have natural, not natural. And you have to click one button. Then we analyze not only the reaction, but we analyze the time of reaction. Under 350 milliseconds, we are not able, like human being, to use the rational part of our brain. So the connection between the logo and the value is totally unconscious. Thanks to that, we help them in creating the best logo, the best name, the best color, and then we help them with the packaging. Another crazy story is about a chain of supermarkets. They have some local product, and they ask us to understand if people perceive that products are really local, because you know that local products have a higher price. Right. So our research are qualitative and not quantitative. We start from a group of 20 people and we grow up, depends from the budget of the company and something.
And do they just have the two buttons, or do they have, is there sensors? Yeah.
In this case, in the supermarket, they have sensor. They wear electroencephalography on their head.
Right.
And to understand exactly the brain activation, thanks to this brain activation, we are able to figure out which emotion you are feeling during an experience and the level of cognitive stress. Because, and then we talk about that, one of the issue, the biggest issue we have now is the cognitive overload. We receive too many stimuli, and our brain is not grow so much to catch all these stimuli and translate all these stimuli to fix in our memory.
Right.
So we use electroencephalography. We use a galvanic skin response. It's a sensor that people have on their hands, and we measure the microsweating, the changing microsweating, microconductance, and we are able to understand how much intense is an emotion. So the electroencephalography give me that people feeling that emotion. The galvanic skin response tell me how much is intense that emotion. And then there were glasses. That glasses is a special glasses because they are an eye tracker. Eye tracker is a tool that allows us to understand exactly where people are watching and the level of visual attention.
Almost like a website heat map, but now you're seeing where they're looking on the supermarket shelf.
Correct. We do heat map in the real world, not only online. And thanks to that, we can analyze a lot of stuff because it's not only the fixation or where you watch, but also the pupil dilatation. Pupil dilatation is an indicator of attention. So we mix all this information. We choose 20 person and then either group of people, and we analyze they have an experience. They have just entering the store, doing their stuff for 10 minutes, and they pass through that shelf. Our goal is to understand where they have their visual attention. The crazy stuff is no one watched in the right point. The right point was where the company put the logo Florida local products. And so we suggest them, following the visual path, the visual attention path, to move that logo to another path, to let it more visible and more connected with the products.
Right.
So we were able to tell to the company, okay, in this case, the percentage of people that watched that logo was absolutely close to zero. So if you move this logo here, the percentage of people that receive that message, that the products are local, is, and you can imagine that from 0 to 80% is a huge change.
Yeah, big time.
Correct. Another analysis we did was for an Italian company that want to export some Italian food products in the United States. So we have research in 2 cities, one Los Angeles and one Dallas, because they are interested in that areas. And we analyze with the same tools the perception of the people. In the first 7 seconds, they have the product in front of them, because in the first 7 seconds, our brain creates an idea about the things we have in front of us. So they have just to watch, handle this product. And we analyze the perceived price, we analyze the emotion they felt, they analyze the perception of the packaging, And then they have to taste the same product. And we had the same result, the same analysis. So then we compare it if in the first 10 seconds people are interested in buy that product or not. And if yes, how much they are willing to pay. And after tasting the product, if there is some difference, some products compared have a better price. So what does it mean? That the packaging was not good enough to share the quality of the product because people are willing to pay more after they taste. So probably you have to improve the packaging. In other case, some
That's
products...
amazing. And that makes sense, right? Yeah.
In other case, the perceived price was higher than the price they decided to enter in the market, but for 40%, 50%, 60%, it's a lot. So people are willing to pay. They have a product like Grissini, and they have a price, they consider a price $2.60. In Los Angeles, the average perceived price was $7 and something, and in Dallas was $9 and something. So you can imagine that you sell the same product to $6. It's a good price for your market. It's like the double of the price you consider to enter in the market.
Wow.
So you can have an incredible insight. All the information I'm giving to you now is about unconscious perception. All the stuff is about that. In this case, we used an incredible tool that is the facial coding. Facial coding, thanks to Paul Ekman theory in the 1940s, he recognized that people from Africa and from New York and from everywhere in the world have the same microexpression connected with the same emotion, and they are totally unconscious. With a duration of 35 milliseconds, we are not able to manage the microexpression. So thanks to the software and our consultant are able to understand which emotion are you feeling just framing your face.
Wow.
So we have a camera and we are able to get the emotion in real time. So when you get the product, the eye tracker tell me that you are watching, I don't know, the logo or the information of the product. And at the same time, I get which emotion are you feeling. And thanks to the galvanic skin response, how intense is that emotion without the IIG on their head. So less invasive.
Yeah.
We use different tools.
Yeah. And the less friction, the more data you could get, because like if they don't all have to wear all that stuff, then you can use a bigger sample set, right? Of people.
Correct. Just thanks to a video. I have a company that send us some videos of people interacting with their videos, for example. They are commercial videos, and they send us just the video of the face of the people, and we analyze the result, and we give them insight like, okay, after 35 seconds, there is a high level of stress, so you have to change your video because in this point, people skip the video and they stop watching your video, or there is no interest or something similar.
That's amazing. That is true, because if you think about the trajectory of video, it's all video now between reels and stories and YouTube videos and podcasts. I mean, you think about it, wow, that the amount of feedback and tweaking you could do to make things convert better would be astronomical.
Yeah, we spoke with a company and they had the video for the Super Bowl. You can imagine that you spend a lot of money for having your video during the Super Bowl.
I think it was like 8 million for 30 seconds this year. Right.
Right. And you have to optimize that video. You have to let this video work better as possible. Otherwise, it's insane. If you imagine that you are spending so much and you are not an optimized video, so you want to understand exactly what's the emotion that you are able to trigger in the people that is watching your video. Yeah. And we can help company in doing this. The very interesting thing, and when I spoke about this topic, people say, oh, that's innovative or something similar, but it's partial true. There are a lot of huge companies that use these techniques for more than 20 years. Coca-Cola, Disney, Apple, and the automotive, the sound, more than the noise, is the sound when you close the door of your car is studied with the neuroscience, because it's one of the perception of quality. If the sound of the door when it's closed is beautiful to listen, the perception is that the car quality is high.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense.
We are sensorial animal. And one of the suggestions I give to companies is try to use more senses possible when you try to engage your potential customers. Because as human beings, we really love to be engaged with more senses as possible.
Absolutely.
When they do videos, putting inside sound that you can't hear in your real life, like, I don't know, a coffee machine or whatever, it's a way to let people more engage with your video. instead of just music. I saw a lot of videos, just music. Yes, music is an amazing vehicle of emotion, but sometimes you have to add some real noise that you can have in your real life. And you can see that
triggers an emotion.
Correct. And you can see that in the movies. Sometimes you have some scene where you have like a music, and then the music is interrupted by, I don't know, the ring bell or, I don't know, the microwave. Yeah. Because for our brain, it's absolutely important to be connected with the real world, not only with like...
That makes so much sense. So much sense. And you're right. I mean, we have 5 senses. The more of the senses that you can get out of people, the more emotional triggers there are. So I totally get it. It's why, if you think about when they tell realtors when they're selling a house to go bake chocolate chip cookies and put them on the counter for the smell, right? It's a relaxing thing and it disarms the buyers.
And you spoke about 5 senses. My suggestion is we have 6 senses, because the 6th sense is the perception of ourselves in the space. And it's very important when we spoke about retail. Sometimes we analyze retail shop. So we help companies in improving and optimizing the retail shop for how to nudge people to go all around the shop, to stop in certain points, changing the
how to make better foot traffic, right?
Correct. Yeah. Changing lights, changing music, changing the disposal of the stuff they have, and the perception of the people inside the space is absolutely important. Because if people perceive themselves as comfortable, they are willing to explore more, and they are willing to
spend more, right?
Correct. In the last article about my newsletter on LinkedIn, I spoke about retail experience, how to let people more engaged and let them spend more time, because the human being is amazing. Our brain is amazing. It's very complicated, but it's amazing. We prefer buy something when we not enter in a shop to buy something. That's crazy. When you enter in a shop and you don't want to buy something just because you are curious, it's the moment that your brain is more engaged, is more able to nudge you to buy something.
I would bet that that's really true, right? For everybody listening, just next time you go out to a store, like just notice that. That's absolutely true.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yes, it's an incredible way to do marketing, because it's not based on my personal idea or my experience, but it's based on science. Yeah. And it's totally different.
Well, you know what's cool? You're connecting science to what every marketer's dream is to tap into the emotion, right? You marry the two. And to me, that's incredible.
Correct. And we have, as customers, we have companies, but we have also marketing agency or marketing team inside companies, because we provide with our research data and insights for marketing team. I want to share with you this experience. Was amazing. One of probably the craziest research I have did. A winery came to us. They have to rebranding all their wines. And when I spoke with the founder, he told me our products have a soul. I say, oh, it's cool. Soul, a wine, a soul. Never think about that. So I had an idea. But for the human being, it's possible to connect a wine to a person. So we started research. People made a blind test. Mm-hmm. They couldn't have any information about the wine, also the color, because they have a black glass, so they can't see nothing. Right. And after that, they have an implicit reaction test, and they have to answer to some question like, if this wine were a person, is man, woman, blondie or brown hair, young, old, and we have behavioral, we have physical, we have different characteristics.
Wow.
And the result was amazing. I have the 99% of people perceiving the same wine like a woman that loves mathematics, that loves science, and that she has the wardrobe divided by color. And then we gave all these insight to professional drawer, and he created the person connected to that. One wine has been perceived from the 100% of the people as a chess player. And the name of that wine became chess player. And you have a chess pieces on the label, and that's incredible. Why? Because we were able to intercept the expectation of the people. And the expectation is one of the most powerful trigger for our brain.
That is really interesting. That's actually amazing. Like, wine is probably one of those things where you really can associate it with lots of things emotionally, but to tie it to a person is or a persona is really cool. Really, really cool.
And when I saw the result of the research, I say, no, there is an error. It's not possible that the 97% perceive the same wine as a person and the same person, but with crazy stuff like guys that, I don't know, love to go fishing, or instead of, I don't know, love caviar or something similar. It was incredible. One wine was the person that loved having reading a book in front of the fireplace. And I had a result incredible, like the 97% and 92% of people. And they were not connected. They have an experience.
Just their own experience and answering questions about it. Amazing.
Correct.
That's amazing.
And they react in less than 300 milli.
So are we going to start seeing wine bottles with pictures of the people? Because I can see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. They have these personas where we have like the shy, we have the chess player, we have, I don't know, the beauty or something similar. We have different characteristics for different person.
The lady reading the book by the fireplace, fantastic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Well, so I can already see where this could be going, but I want to hear where you think this is going. As you look down the next 2 years, like the impact that this can have on marketing is unbelievable. So how do you see this neuroscience impacting over the next couple of years?
It's a huge impact. And for the most, it's connected with one thing we spoke before, that we are not able to memorize all the stimuli we receive. And it works also for the marketing messages. How many times we see a video or an advertising and we are not able to remember which brand was. Yes, I remember the video, but I don't remember the brand connected with that video or with that advertising.
Right.
When we wake up, we receive push notification on our phone, commercial on TV, on radio, social media, everywhere. But our brain is more or less the same when we live in the caves. And so we are not able to memorize physically. We are not able to memorize all this information. So our brain, that is called cognitive measure, what does? Delete information, delete all the information we don't need. And commercial are the information we need less. So we have to find the right trigger to pass up this brand to the long-term memory. That's still Dorado for all the brands. It's the place where you remember and where you connect it. And the perception is a mathematical path thanks to the different activation of different areas of our brain. So neuroscience can help branding doing marketing that really resonate in the right part of the consumer's brain. And it doesn't mean manipulation, perception, and it's
emotional
nudge.
Triggers. Yeah,
correct. I can't convince you to cut your leg to buy a Lamborghini.
Right.
But if you are in the point where you're deciding for BMW or Audi, I can nudge you in a way thanks to your preference. And here I want to talk about the unconscious need. Yeah. We as human beings have some needs. Some are conscious, and are the needs that we can share with others, and some are unconscious. The unconscious needs are the best trigger to nudge someone to buy something. So if I'm able to understand the unconscious need of my potential customer, I can create the perfect product for them. Steve Jobs figured out that the unconscious need of the people that used an iPhone was not the technology, it was that they can reach all the part of the screen just moving a finger, not moving all the hand. And they figure out that it's an unconscious need. And that's the iPhone. More than $1,000 for a phone. It's the real value. No, it's the perceived price. Yes, it is. So the unconscious need is important. And neuroscience is growing so fast. This market is growing so fast and connected also to the concept that now we live in the artificial intelligence era.
Yeah.
We recognize that the human being is the final decision making. The artificial intelligence can create everything for you, but the click on buy it is a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's triggered by an emotion. So you have to understand how to create that emotion, how to create the right environment to let people live that emotion.
Yeah.
I think will be a huge impact.
No doubt. So one of the things that, if I circle back real quick, right, as I look down the road, the thing that I saw or heard from you is that where some of the things that you do, where they have to put the thing on their heads, the thing on their hands, right? The cameras are getting smart enough to pick this stuff up to where now you can do it with less manipulate, or I don't want to say manipulation, but less friction of less interruption to the buyer's just natural shopping experience, right? Do you see technology getting to the point where you don't need most of that stuff, where they could just put a shirt on with the triggers or just something like that, and you're like, hey, just go about your normal day, and then you could take data from everybody in the store or everybody watching the video, right? The video is probably the easiest one now. But that's where I can see this just taking off like crazy, because nobody is tapping into the motion. The best that we do online is heat map software, right? I mean, come on. There's got to be better than that to tap into the emotion.
Correct. Yes, technology can help us. For example, when we have to intercept an emotion, basically now we use the electroencephalography. Electroencephalography needs time to be set up, and now the technology help us with the new IIG to reduce that time. Because you can imagine, if I have to put something on your head for 10 minutes, working on your hair to make the connection, it's frustrating. If I do the same in 40 seconds, it's easier. The facial coding helps us to get the same information, but not invasive. But there is an issue. The accuracy of the facial coding now is 80% of it compared with an IG. Now I'm working on a new platform to create a facial coding software that is validated by AAG. So I want us to say the IIG with a result with the facial coding to create a facial coding software that is like the 90%, 95% accurate compared with an AIG.
Right. So who wouldn't want to use that, right? It's crazy. If you're in marketing, how would you not want to use that? If you're a product or a brand creator, how would you not want to use this before you even launch, let alone after you launch, to make it better?
Our goal, and in this case, we are in the phase, we are searching for investors for this project. We have Summit, we are working on that. Our goal is to create a platform where you can just upload your video with the face of your potential customers, that you do everything, just a video with a smartphone. You upload, and you upload the content they watched, a product or whatever, and we are able to give you a report in 10 days with a consultation of a neuroscientist of one person of my staff that gave you the insight, because it's not difficult to get the data.
Analysis, right?
Correct. Yeah. The challenges is to
but who wouldn't wait 10 days to get a great, like, come on, that's not a big deal at all.
Absolutely. And you can imagine that if you are able to have these results in 10 days, it's super cool. Now it needs like 1 month sometimes, or depends on the type of research. So it's super easy, super fast, and you can just upload your files. And after 10 days, 8 days, you have a call scheduled with someone that read the data and give the interpretation, because they
love this.
The challenge is to give an interpretation. If I share with you just some numbers, for you are numbers.
Right.
When we did a research in Los Angeles and Dallas, I have a lot of KPI for this product. I have a lot of information like visual attention, arousal, but I have to translate that numbers in something that the marketer can understand.
Yeah.
So the real value of our consultation is not only the research, but it's the explanation. Because thanks to the explanation, we can work together to a solution. We give to companies a solution, not only data. Because data are, interesting, but too complicated for them to understand. So our goal is to give this consultation.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we're going to have to check back later in the year with you, because this platform has a lot of potential. This is going to be unbelievable. I'm really excited about it. I mean, if that was there today, we'd be using it. So it's great. And I can see where it's heading. And the cool part is you're on a cutting edge of things that, we talk to tons and tons of people through the podcast and through our network. And very few people are talking about neuroscience in the way in which you're applying it. And it's really, really cool.
We try to mix marketing and neuroscience. There is a huge separation from the two worlds. Neuroscience is academic. Marketing is based on experience, not on the human being reaction. So I want to mix them. I say, okay, I'm not an academic. So yes, I'm former for some university, but I'm not an academic. My first background was from marketing. So I say, okay, I want to get this information to match academic and translate in a marketing service.
To apply,
Correct. That helps company just in save money, have accurate results. And really, why I say save money? Because you can imagine that if you are able to understand before you launch a marketing campaign, the potential result based on science about that marketing campaign, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You avoid to spend a lot of money. You avoid
You
to
save
spend...
tons of money by not going down the wrong path, right? The wrong offer, yeah, absolutely.
Imagine the ads, for example. How it works now, you create a campaign, and then after a few months, you check if the campaign is working or not. But in that moment, you wasted a lot of money. If you do a research before, you start with the right knowledge and you save money. Yes, you spend for the research, but you save a lot of money. I
save tons. Right. Yeah.
I saved some entrepreneurs from wasting money. I found a guy, he had an incredible project and for a new product, blah, blah, blah. And we making a research to understand if the market was ready for his product. And the result was no. The result was the market was not ready for his product. And he told me, Marco,
boatload.
He told me, yes, Marco, I spent money with you, but you save my money. You don't understand how many millions I can invest in this type of product. I was based only on my perception, and you helped me in changing the product, in changing and making more closer to
what
the things that
wants.
the people, the people unconsciously want.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, Marco, I told you I was going to ask you a couple questions at the end. One, tell us something cool you've done with AI.
Playing with AI awesome. Sometimes I'm training my AI. I have my AI and my AI is super cool in neuroscience, I have to be honest. Sometimes I share some neuroscience research from all over the world to my AI. So my AI is learning.
That's right. I would have guessed that you did a ton of research and make sure that it cites the sources so you can go and read some of the stuff you want to dig into.
I personally read more than 200 research per year. More or less.
Yeah. So, in your field, absolutely. I totally get that.
Yes. Yeah. Because you can keep updated yourself to the news. Yeah. But sometimes I play with the artificial intelligence to understand how close it is to the reaction of the human being. Because the artificial intelligence is biased because it's trained by us, but we are biased. So we train giving our bias to the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence empower our biases to give us a result with our biases empowered. So basically,
just like the algorithms do, right? Exactly. The social media algorithms they go one way or another or down the path. They
correct.
Emphasize and they empower the biases, unfortunately.
Correct. So it could be very dangerous. But my goal is to understand the difference from a human being and artificial intelligence connected with the perception.
Yeah.
The artificial intelligence doesn't have a perception of itself, so it's different from us. And often it doesn't learn from its error. And it's another incredible stuff. Human being.
Hallucinations, I would imagine in neuroscience with AI would be you'd see the most hallucinations from AI.
Artificial intelligence can help us in cleaning the data or doing something similar. For example, now we are working on a project. It's an incredible project. We are creating an avatar. It's a mobile app with a mindfulness coach. So you have an avatar with artificial intelligence, and thanks to the facial coding, the artificial intelligence is able to understand your emotion, so react to your emotion. So the avatar asks you, how is it going? And you say, it's good. But your face express frustration.
Yeah, if you're not smiling, saying good, right? So yeah, I get it.
Correct.
Okay.
And so artificial intelligence can work with neuroscience just if it's a tool. For example, I have a very good friend of mine, have a platform for visual attention thanks to the eye tracking. Eye tracking, visual attention thanks to the AI. So you upload a video and the algorithm say to you, this is the heat map of the people watching it. But there is a huge problem. The influences of the social influences and the geographic influences. A person from New York, a person from Milan, a person from Paris, have a different perception of the spaces, have a different perception of the images.
I can see that.
So artificial intelligence can be the solution. It's a tool. You have to use in the right way. But I used this tool, and then I did the same research with different people, human beings, and they had completely different results. So it's too early to use only artificial intelligence to do neuroscience.
Parts of it, right? Yeah, you can use it for certain things, right? Like you said, it's a tool. Right? It's not the end all be all. And as everybody that listens to our podcast knows, they're digital coworkers or co-pilots. They are not replacements. It's not the end all be all. It can just help you do things much faster. But in this case, emotions are probably the biggest leap that it's pretty far away from it.
Correct. For example, an incredible use of artificial intelligence in my field is about the voice emotion through voice recognition.
Right.
We have tools that allow us to understand the emotion through the voice level, the voice, and it works well because in that case, I don't have.
Yeah.
And it works well because we can really intercept the emotion. So I have a call center company that share with us some reaction of their potential customers, and we analyze the reaction and we say, okay, this script is good, this script is not good because there is frustration, there is blah, blah. Thanks to that, it's a tool that we can use in the right way and in the right place.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's awesome. All right. Last question. If I give you a magic wand and you can grow the company over the next 12 months to hit your growth targets or exceed them, what would that magic wand help you do?
I think that the basic thing is to let people understand what we are doing and let people and share the knowledge of this topic. You can't imagine how many entrepreneurs or marketing managers I spoke with that they didn't understand and they didn't know nothing about this field. And sometimes for me, it's incredible. They say, hey, you have an iPhone, you drive a car, you went to
it's happened
Disney
to you
Park.
all the time, right? All the things
Correct.
you own are probably
Correct.
Yes,
correct. But people don't know exactly what is consumer neuroscience, and they don't know that it exists, or the most thinks that it's expensive, and then they spend the same amount for a focus group. That a focus group is something where I come to you and say, hey, what do you think about my product? And you say, it's good. And there is the social influences. There is a lot of biases activated during the focus group. So my main goal is to let people know that these techniques exist, that it's science-based, and it's not about Marco is good or Marco is not good, Marco's company is good. It's a science that speaks for us. So the science, the scientific data, super clear. And the only thing
anybody
is to
that's
have
in marketing, Marco, that is true marketer would know that this would be the end all be all of the starting point every time, because it allows you to start, what focus groups and all that, to me, they always say failure is the opportunity to begin again smarter. But imagine having the best starting point ever with marketing and understanding the emotional triggers of the buyer ahead of time. That's like the holy grail of what you're trying to do as a marketer. If you knew that up front, you'd win 90% of the time. And so to me, someone that's not engaging with you is crazy.
Absolutely. So my magic wand is uses for let people more informed. I tried to create a lot of content. I have a podcast, I have a newsletter, and I have a lot of public speaking about this topic, just to let people understand that it exists. It's a tool, a very powerful tool. All our research give us incredible results, but incredible. We have a rate of success of the project we created. That's incredible. That's really incredible.
Yeah. But because you're adding science to emotions, you're basically measuring emotions. And
correct.
That there's no way that that's not the most valuable thing that you could do from a brand or a product standpoint.
Correct. Absolutely. And talking about emotion, one of the stuff you told me, I'm from Marco Baldocchi Group. The company will have a rebranding soon, and we'll call it Neuralysis, just to let people perceive that it's connected to the neuro part of our life instead of Marco. Okay. So we are working on that just for the perception. And we had a study, we had a research about our logo, and we figured out that we had to change the color because the US market was more connected with another color that is not the red. I used the red for a long story. The next time I will tell you. And now we did a research and we perceived that the right color for this field is a light blue. It's not a red. So we are changing using
that actually makes sense. Yeah.
So, because science is connected to green or unconsciously to green or light blue, not to red. And so we are changing, and soon the new website and the branding will release, and everything was
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're definitely going to check in with you later this year. So,
absolutely.
Marco, for people that want to get in touch with you, again, we'll put all the links below the podcast, but tell them how to get in touch with you today.
They can find me on LinkedIn. It's my field. It's the social network I use more. I'm on Instagram. Yes, I'm on Instagram. They can surf our website. It's marcobaldocchi.com. It's easy.
Yeah.
Then it will be neuralysis.com soon. So yes, but the way they can find me easier is LinkedIn. And they can find my content. I published a new book a few days ago because I have 80 articles of my newsletter. A few guys a few months ago told me, oh, I want to read in a book all your articles together. Why don't you create a book with that? And they want an amazing stuff.
Can we link it?
Yes. And they want...
We'll link it below the podcast. Yeah, we'll get that.
Yes. And they want the paper book, not the book, the digital book. And it's amazing. And do you know why? Because you use our senses. And it's super, super cool. I'm going to share with you the link for the podcast now, so you can have. The name of the podcast is Neuromarketing, Tapping the Consumer's Brain, that you can find on Spotify or Apple Podcast or all this stuff.
We'll put those links in the description, right? Once we put this live. Yeah.
Perfect. So I will share you later so you can add there.
Yeah, just email them to me. I will reach out to you. But this is great. Marco, this has been really one of the most fun ones that I love. It's no one's doing this or talking about it. You're on the cutting edge, and I'm just so psyched for you to grow this platform.
And the crazy stuff, it's coming from a very small city of Tuscany. Yeah. It seems impossible to arrive in the United States. I'm here thanks to a one visa for extraordinary abilities in my field. And I'm really so excited because I know that it's a cutting edge ideas and it's a cutting edge marketing areas. And that's so innovative. It's a everyday fight, but I love it. I have a passion for the human being.
Oh, it comes out naturally, yes.
When people talk to me about artificial intelligence, I often say yes, but artificial intelligence doesn't have emotions. Right. And do you know what nudge you to do and to get your most important decision in your life? Emotions, not rationality.
Absolutely.
Emotions.
Absolutely. It's why they have all the colors of cars and everything and they've tapped into it, but we haven't even scratched the surface when you start to get into the emotions. So Marco, thank you for spending the time with us today. We'll get this thing up and live really soon. And best of luck to you. And we will make sure that people, can get onto your podcast and start listening and grab your book.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I had a very pleasant conversation with you. And I hope to see you soon for another conversation.
Absolutely. Well, and that's it for this episode of Future Proof Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Muller, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.